Hello everybody, welcome to another Deck Tech. We just finished doing our free-to-play run for this week, so if you want to check that out, I go over all of how to build a draft right from the start. So if you've never drafted before, it's a really good place to start. But now I want to talk about Praxis Sentinels. So I normally go a little bit deeper into off-meta cards when I do these, but at the same time, there's a brand new meta, so there's all kinds of cool things that we can do with this, where a lot of people haven't really been building anything yet. And one of the things that's been pushed a little bit more and more was the Sentinel build. Gearmaster got a buff, not from this patch, but from the patch before that, and now Amaran Shoveler got a buff from this one. So I've been interested in making a deck that was built around Sentinels and the Relics, and this is what we have. So I put in a single emerging Colossus. You might find that sticking out. I'm really curious as to how it works, like if it'll actually be good. So I'm including a one of, I should maybe even do two if I'm trying to test it, but I think that it's not going to be great. So I wanted to try it. But with Stirring Stand here, so I was going to say Shifting Stand, Stirring Sand, I like having a really expensive card like Emerging Colossus. So Emerging Colossus is the Overwhelm. When it hits the enemy player, you draw a card with cost 6 or more from your Void, but then also reduce its cost by 6. So you still need the influence requirements, but other than that, the card's basically free if it's 6. So that's pretty sweet. Stirring Sand is the one where you play a Sentinel from your Void exhausted, and for each of your Explorers, you can also pay 2 and exhaust that Explorer to get an additional Sentinel from your Void. I'm thinking I might go a lot deeper into this strategy, specifically with Stirring Sand and some of the really big Sentinels, on another deck tech. But for this one, I'm going to leave it as just the Praxis. Right now, we're trying to do a lot of Mysterium Orbs. So, like, how do we get all of these expensive Titans out? So, we've got things like Great-Kiln Titan, we've got Emerging Colossus, we've got Heart of the Vault. So, we have some of our top end. But then, what are we doing to get that out? And what we're doing is we're going to be using all of the Explorers. So Trailmaker gives us extra power, so does Amber Acolyte in a way, because it'll get us extra sigils, so we're making sure that we hit our power drops every single turn. But then on top of that, we have Mysterium Orb, which I feel is going to be a key to these decks. You get a +1 power to each of your Explorers, and all of your Sentinels have Endurance and Overwhelm. The power buff for Explorers is actually huge, and there's a lot of Explorers. Like, I'm kind of stunned with how many Explorers are actually in the game. Feels like almost everything that's a human is also just happens to be an Explorer, because even Amaran Shoveler is, Trailmaker, and Amber Acolyte, and Gearmaster, and Spelunker, and so we've got a lot of them. And it does give us a ton of extra oomph. So I like Mysterium Orb a lot. We can power out a ton of quick Great-Kiln Titans and just overwhelm the opponent long before they can really do anything. And cards like Gearmaster and the Shoveler are to get us to keep going after that point. So once we've hit, like, say, 12, 13 mana, or even 15, 16, which I have already done testing this, then you can draw into extra gas to just keep slamming Great-Kiln Titans, to keep hitting Parapet Sentries and all those kinds of things. The other thing that's really, really cool is they buffed Season Spelunker. So when you have a Relic, instead of just getting +1/+1, making it a 4/4, it's now +2/+2, which makes this card kind of a beating. Multiple games that I've won have been because I've gone turn 3 Season Spelunker, turn 4 Xenan Obelisk. And then this is a 6/6, and you just smash. So this deck has the ability to be very, very quick on the draw. So you've got, like, your Trailmakers and Amber Acolytes, and you can just kind of slam a bunch of Season Spelunkers, maybe a Mysterium Orb, and get in there for a bunch of early damage. But it also has the late game of, you know, Great-Kiln Titan, Emerging Colossus, Heart of the Vault. So it kind of plays pretty well on both ends of the spectrum. I mean, it's not super aggressive, but it does pretty well against the aggro decks. Nice little mid-range list here. One of the other cards that I really wanted to talk about was honestly like Parapet Sentry. This card is, sorry, this one also got a buff too. It used to be +1/+1 will have a Relic, but now it's +2/+2. 3 damage to enemy player and 3 damage to unit with flying is pretty important. There's a lot of Valkyrie Enforcers and Unseen Commandos running around, and the 3 damage is pretty huge. Same with the Ancient Defenses. You might be wondering why I'm only running 2 Xenan Obelisks and 2 Ancient Defenses, but the thing is that we can't have... We're getting to a critical mass of relics, where if you go too far over, we just end up with not enough units. And I want to be able to actually finish a game out pretty quickly. So we're trying to avoid going into the pit where we have way too many relics and we're always drawing a bunch of obelisks and ancient defenses and not actually getting the things that work with them. So these might need to change as well to obelisks, just because obelisk is fantastic. If you have 8 power, ancient defenses versus obelisk, ancient defenses pumps sentinels less than obelisk does, even. Like, this card's fine. The 3 damage is pretty relevant, but obelisk is really, really strong. So it's possible that you just want to switch those out anyways. I would certainly look at that. But this is a pretty fun list. I've certainly enjoyed it, and I'm hoping that we can get some really good games here. I haven't been able to Emerging Colossus anybody yet, but I've won a lot of games with it. I've been having some fun, and hopefully we can get up to like 15 power and slam out a couple of Great-Kiln Titans. So let's go to some games, and I'll show you how the deck runs.